Hello and welcome to Mock Productions. You are here with me, Matthew, and we are back here with Skylanders Imaginators. This is part 3 of the Gamescom update here. We have plenty of stuff in this one to talk about. I keep saying that every single time, but like I said in the beginning, there is tons of stuff to talk about. There is no doubt about it that there is tons of stuff. But in this specific one, we'll be going over some pictures of basically screenshots, but also moves. And I have 5 characters in particular and their moves. You can hear the paper. I'm ready to go. We've got our Rustly Rustle with the paper here. Let's do this. First one up, we have Crash Bandicoot. A brand new one of him basically spinning around one of his moves here. And a very, very interesting looking setting there. We've seen this, I believe we've seen this plenty of times in different pictures. But some interesting enemies as well, sort of like neon-y bug things. They've got sort of like a translucent, I guess you would call it a bottom, but I guess it's got a specific word for it, seen as they're bugs. I can't think what it is, but it's, you know, it's not a mandible, but it's the back part of the bug. We'll just call it the bum. So it's the bum of the bug. It's the neon lighty bum of the bug. But very, very cool there, and a nice picture of him. There's also another one which is almost as if they've sort of switched the camera around a little bit and gone, no, hold on, let's have it here. So there you go, you can see him spinning around there just before he starts attacking these enemies there. Very, very cool indeed. There he is there, mucking around, which I believe, now this is the island. I don't know what it's called. I think it was called the Wooder Island or something like that. But he's looking pretty funky there, sort of standing there, not standing there, doing a handstand, whilst almost making, is that a letter? I don't know. If you swing him around, he looks like a K. Could be. I don't know. But, yeah, very, very awesome. Nice picture there of Crash Bandicoot. We also have one here for Chop Shop. And she is looking amazing with this axe. I mean, look at the axe compared to her. It's slamming down. There's all this purple stuff pouring out of the ground and in the sky, which just looks absolutely amazing. There's that bug there, the lighty bum bug. But, oh my gosh, this just looks fantastic. A very, very interesting looking character indeed. We also have this picture, which is, again, of Chopscotch again. She's sort of coming out of the ocean. But she looks so small. But I'm hoping that axe is just going to be massive, or at least when she starts attacking it, it grows and grows and grows. But she does look very, very small. But I'm guessing the figure will definitely be a lot bigger than what she looks like in-game. Now, here we have Kaos. Let's talk Kaos. Because it literally is Kaos. Now, Kaos, you're probably wondering is, well, why have they given him a figure form? Personally, I don't know, but they gave him a figure form, and I am happy about that, because now we get to actually experience Kaos without any limitations. Superchargers, he was in a vehicle, we had a vehicle. Trap Team, you had him for a certain amount of seconds, and he only had a certain amount of moves. Now, in this case, with this figure, he is a Battle Class Master. Now, some of you would probably be like, oh my gosh, you're kidding. And some of you might be like, what the heck does that mean? Basically, he's a master of all battle classes. Now, you'll see those massive hands above him. And he basically can summon random different attacks. Now, I don't know whether it's just a button and you just have to hope and pray that you get a good one. But you literally push a button and a move will happen. Now, here is the list of all of them. So, we have claws, which basically slam down. We have a sword, which will slice. There's a cannon, which sort of pops out and sort of explode. We've got his Doom Sharks, they're back. There's a bow and arrow, which I've seen. Ninja Stars, they sort of fling out and they almost do like a bit of a pattern. We've got Mad Hands. I've called them Mad Hands because they're sort of like, I don't know if you ever remember these, but they're sort of like really like stretchy, flingy hands. Sort of like gooey, I don't know what to call them. But like rubbery, flexible hand things, you can sort of stretch them and they'll fling and they'll splat onto the wall. They're sort of like jelly goo. But they look like that. There's like 2 of them and they sort of like interlock and crisscross and hit the enemies and everything like that. That's why I called them Mad Hands. There's also another thing where he creates a guardian, or at least 2 in certain circumstances. They basically go out and attack the enemies, or at least take up the damage whilst you can walk away. There's a Sorcerer's Wand, which basically sort of goes on a horizontal axis, and it will basically shoot out what looks like a lightning bolt, but I'm guessing it's some sort of spell at the enemies, which is very, very cool. There's also the double guns, of course, for the quick shot, which basically just shoots the enemies. It's very much like trigger happy, so I don't know whether you have to hold down the button and it will just constantly fire, or it was just like a one-off going bang bang. But it was very much like a trigger happy. There's also one which looks like wings, where he sort of almost spawns wings and they sort of fly around. They sort of both go around each other and whack the enemies. So you can basically spam all of these moves, like keep tapping, and he's basically going to keep doing all these different moves over and over again. Now there is also, I guess there is going to definitely be his floating head, but I haven't seen it in game. But when you actually put him on the portal, he shows his head and then he goes back into being his actual normal self. So my guess is the head is there somewhere. So if people are a fan of Kaos's big head, it is still there, so don't worry about that. There is the Guardians there, you can see him there, looking extremely cool. He looks very menacing, but it's just so cool to see Kaos. Has he got no shoes on? I'm pretty sure he has no shoes on. Get some shoes on, Kaos. But he looks very, very cool nevertheless. Now, of course, we also have Dr. Neo Cortex. Now, this guy's rather interesting because, of course, we know he has a gun. And we know he has some washing up gloves on. No, the washing up gloves do nothing. But he does have what looks to be some sort of mechanical surfboard in a way. Or at least some sort of skateboard that hovers. And it sort of blasts along and you can sort of control it and fly around on it and everything like that. It hits the enemies, no problem. If that wasn't good enough for you, he also throws mines on the floor. Now, the only problem with these mines is if you walk into them, you will damage yourself. So that's rather interesting. They're actually deploying something which can actually hurt you. Or at least, at the moment, it can hurt you. The mines, they obviously, if anyone knows what a mine is, then you walk up to it. If you get into a certain proximity, it blows up. And will basically damage the person, if not possibly will kill the enemy, which is pretty cool. And you can actually also do that whilst being on that surfboard sort of thing, so you can sort of throw them down, keep going around. As long as you dodge them, you should be okay. You're sort of leading the enemies into them then. His gun as well is almost like a laser gun. It sort of blows out this it's sort of like a bluey, I think it was bluey or yellow, one of the two, but it was like this bluey power gun. Very, very interesting, like a shotgun, but obviously it does do damage. There is also another move which we'll see. I love this. Look, just think of something. I have an idea. I just think of another thing. I have another idea. But there's also this thing here, which is like this Tiki Mask. Now, I don't know what it actually does. I don't know whether it's a shield or it will actually do something. At the moment, I haven't seen it actually doing anything. He just sort of spawns it, and it almost as if the enemies stare at it and go, "It's a mask." Ah, that's literally what it looks like when I see it. But a very, very interesting load of movesets there. Actually, his head on the side looks rather interesting. I thought it was almost like just a flat face, but he's almost got like a plate. You could almost have your dinner on top of his head. It's like a very, like, almost rounded, like a top of a nail. That's almost what his head looks like. Sorry, Mr. Neo Cortex, or Dr. Neo Cortex. Now, of course, we have this dude next. We have Dr. Crankcase. This is an awesome shot here. Whoever did this screenshot, it's masterfully done. It is fantastic. It looks fantastic. It's like almost as if it could be in a cinema. Wow, it's fantastic. I could just stare at this all day. But as you already know, if you've played Trap Team, you'll probably know a lot of this guy's movesets. He's evidently got his goo guns. He's a quick shot, which means he's going to fire goo from the guns, and that's exactly what it does. You can see the goo on the grounds there. It fires at the enemies. It does its thing. Now, there is also, you sort of, well, no, not sort of. There's also another move in Trap Team where you could actually spin around using your legs. So you almost sort of like drop down, and you could spin using your legs, almost like a spinning top. that is still usable with this guy, which is again is very, very cool. There's also another one where he actually throws his hat on the floor. He's almost just like rips his hat off, throws it on the floor. It grows legs, almost like a it's almost like a mini Crankcase with no face or body. But it sort of walks around, and I think it takes on a few hits. It might damage a few enemies, but it's very, very cool, especially for him to just pop his hat off, and there's a little support guy for him. Now, in terms of a Sky Chi power, this guy's Sky Chi is basically, he will go mad. He will literally spin around using his legs and also fire goo. So it's almost like he's combining two of his attacks together, but I'm not talking like you go bang, bang, bang with the goo. You literally are going full on boom, 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 boom. There's goo everywhere. The whole screen is covered in goo. That is basically what happens. Everyone is gone. Good night. So, yeah, he is definitely a very awesome character, and I cannot wait to get this guy in hand. It's just going to be so, so cool. So, so cool indeed. There he is again, looking fantastic as well. Moving on, though, we have Sickle here. Again, he's in game here, looking extremely menacing. Very, very cool indeed. Now, Sickle here, he has a few different abilities as to what I have seen so far. Oh dear. So much stuff. Basically, he's got a dash ability. Now, what happens is he sort of charges up the back sickle. There's this sort of almost bluey colour to it. Then he dashes. Then these two blue orbs come out. Then when he tries to swipe an enemy again, go with me here, the orbs will then regain onto the sickle and almost power up the sickle. So if you're still with me, that sounds like a pretty awesome move. You go from charging at an enemy to dropping orbs, to picking the orbs back up, to attack again with the sickle. It's an all-round very, very cool... it's a very, very cool one there. Now, of course, obviously, because he's got a sickle, he's going to be throwing it around a lot like a farmer. He's going to be using it to attack the enemies, just left and right, left and right, left and right. Very, very cool. He does also have a jump ability where literally he will jump in the air and slam the sickle down on the floor. Very, very cool. There's all these there's like this massive crack in the floor, so that is very, very cool. I've also seen another one where he actually places an orb on the floor. Now, by a orb, I mean like a black orb instead of these blue orbs, and it's almost like a black hole in a way. Now, it doesn't look as if it was sucking in any enemies. Whether it will, I don't know. Whether this one particular enemy was rather too heavy, I'm not too sure. But nevertheless, very, very cool indeed. Now, he also has a Sky Chi power. Every single one of them does. And his Sky Chi power is literally, he will spin around on the spot with a sickle madly. That is literally it. He goes into a tornado sickle move of destruction, and it looks amazing. It really does. I mean, every single one of these does look absolutely fantastic. It's hard to distinguish which ones you want the most and everything like that, but let me know out of the ones that we're seeing in this update, which one is your favourite so far? Which one is actually pushing above every single other one? Is it literally because it's a returning one? Anything like that? Let me know in the comments below, because I'd love to know what your guys' favourite one is so far being shown. Now, we also have this guy, which of course is Starcast. And this guy's looking pretty cool as well. We got plenty of screenshots of this guy, and we got plenty of information about him. Now, one move in particular is actually he can duplicate himself. And it's sort of almost as if he drops an image of himself on the ground, and you can walk off invisible. So it's very much like a stealth elf ability with the scarecrows, only better, because the scarecrow will just sit there and the enemies will go to it. But in this case, his duplicate will actually attack, not like terrifically like you would, but he will, like, you know, hit an enemy, hit an enemy, hit an enemy, and he's there for a few seconds. Then he'll finish off by literally slamming on the ground. That can get rid of quite a few enemies. Believe me, from what I have seen, it looks very, very cool. There is also another one where he can actually create this giant shuriken. It's almost as if he throws it on the floor, it grows, then he can stand on it like a surfboard again, and you can sort of almost hover around whilst it's spinning around like a spinning top, and you can take out the enemies, which is extremely cool indeed. Very, very nice there. Of course he's going to have to throw the ninja stars. Why would he have them in his hands? He's throwing those ninja stars around like an absolute boss. His jump ability is interesting to say the least. It's literally he jumps in the air and he'll throw shurikens straight down. So if there's anyone like around you and you jump in the air, you can throw them straight down, jump straight down, jump straight down. It's a constant thing. So that is rather cool. So he's definitely very cool. I mean, you can see a few screenshots here, and the overall player model of him is just fantastic. He really does look absolutely amazing. Look at this. That is just fantastic. And look at that plant there. It's just really, really awesome indeed. You see him throwing the shurikens almost straight into the mouth. That's going to hurt. That is going to hurt indeed. Whew. But in terms of this update, in terms of part 3, that is it. So some very, very cool stuff. This is the stuff that's been showed off, obviously, at Gamescom. This is part 3. Part 4 will be coming up, and then that will be that. But there should be more stuff. I'm guaranteeing there'll be little itty bits that I'll have missed or something like that. But we'll definitely be showing all of that off. But if you have enjoyed this part, make sure to hit that subscribe button below for more of these news updates, and also for more Skylanders Imaginators related videos. Comment down below, like I've said, and also anything in general about the game as well. You can also rate the video as well, so I know you're enjoying the series, and I'll see you guys in the next video on the channel, which will be to follow rather soon. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you then, and goodbye.